Hello and very welcome to my new video. This session is dedicated to the medical students who've been contacting me recently. I've been asked to give some advice generally, and so here are my top 10 tips for medical students. Number 1, start saving money. The whole process from working in the UK, from the moment you start revising all the way through to your Tier 2 visa, at present on average will cost you £5,000. So it's not cheap, and it's better to oversave than undersave. Number 2, set yourself a goal. You really want to know what you want to do. Have a specialty in mind. Don't just turn up on the day after you finished your PLAB exam and got to GMC registration that you want to do surgery or something very competitive without having a plan and knowing what to expect. My other videos on each subspecialties will go into this in detail. There are lots of other videos I'm going to be doing on different specialties which I haven't done yet, but essentially keep an eye on those. Number 3, and probably the most important point I want to mention here, is improve your communication skills. The first hurdle is the IELTS exam, and it's not good enough simply because you've passed your IELTS exam and you've got your basic minimum requirement to work in the UK. Just recently, a huge cohort of people has failed the PLAB 2 exam because there's been a new focus on communication skills and professionalism and ethics. All of these require sound communication skills. Communication skills are tested throughout your career in the UK, from the moment you set your first exam to every other subsequent exam, the MRCP, MRCS, MRCOG, anything else. Also, every interview you go to, one of the key things you're assessing is your ability to communicate effectively, from the first interview you do all the way to the consultant or any subsequent interview you do. And if you ask any doctor in the UK, what are the top 5 most important skills of a good physician or a doctor, they'll tell you communication skills will be in there somewhere. So I can't understate this, and I have seen this time and time again, that you've got very good candidates who've got good CVs, but they're poor communicators and they just cannot pass exams. They get stuck, they get frightened in interviews, they get really nervous, and so that's really something you need to work on, is communication skills. If you can hack communication skills, then even if your knowledge isn't very high, you'll get through exams, you'll get through interviews. That's just how things are, that if you look the part, then it'll take you a lot further. Number 4, keep up to date with the changing GMC regulations and visa regulations. And they develop slowly, so if you keep an eye and you know what to expect, then things won't be a surprise, and then you can change and tailor your circumstances around that. I'll try to make videos of any major changes, but also make sure you look at their websites to keep abreast to see what's happening. Number 5 is that doing an elective in the UK is not essential in your medical school. If you do an elective in the UK, it's good. It will help you in the sense that you'll have an idea of how it works here, and you may develop contacts, and that will be helpful in the future perhaps. But it's not an essential thing. So if you are short of money and you don't really have resources, don't waste your money on or trying to sort of create huge burden for yourself by organising an elective in the UK. If you can do it, it's good. If you don't, it's not a huge loss. Number 6 is do an internship in your home country, because you will not be able to enter the foundation program from like anybody else on a Tier 2 visa. Unless you've got other circumstances, if you're British or a European citizen, then that's different. But on a Tier 2 visa, you can't simply enter like everybody else on the foundation program F1, F2. If you have not done your internship in your home country, then you will not get full registration in the UK. You'll only get a provisional registration, which means that you'll have to find a standalone F1 and an F2 job subsequently. And also, very importantly, in your internship year, make sure you do the right jobs. So make sure you have surgery and medicine in them. Otherwise, the GMC will say, well, actually those jobs aren't good enough, and they will reject your internship year and only grant you provisional registration. That's important. So number 7 is in your internship year, make sure you start revising for your PLAB 1 and you clear your PLAB 1 in your internship year. That's very important. And PLAB 1 isn't a very difficult exam to pass, and it's totally doable in your internship year. The knowledge will be fresh because you've just done medical school, and make sure you do that. And also, number 8 is start revising for PLAB 2 in your internship year. So once you've passed your PLAB 1, Don't stop there. Start revising for PLAB 2. Number 9, I get this asked a lot, is what should they do, USMLE or PLAB? Those are very separate exams, very separate routes, and you need to dedicate to one. USMLE requires more work, it's a longer process, and it's something you can sit during your medical school years. USMLE versus PLAB, USMLE costs more, and it's a more rigorous and a more difficult exam compared to the PLAB exam. So PLAB obviously has its own costs, but it's not as much costly as the USMLEs. And so the two are very separate things, and you need to decide earlier on. You can do both, nothing's stopping you, but I would focus on one and getting sort of finishing one rather than doing both and not getting either of them done. Because remember, each of them are associated with costs. They're not cheap. So you don't want to completely spread all your finances everywhere and not actually achieve anything at the end. And finally, number 10 is find yourself a good mentor. A mentor who's sincere and gives you honest advice, and who you can always ask to give you the right thing at the right time. I'm happy to become mentors for if anybody requires, but it's important that you find the right individual to help you and guide you through the whole process. So let's summarize. Number 1, start saving money. Number 2, set yourself an agenda and the specialty that you want to do. Number 3, really work on your communication skills. Number 4, keep up to date with the visa and the GMC regulations. Number 5, elective is not essential, but if you have it, it's okay, it's good. Number 6, do an internship in your home country after your qualification, and make sure it's in the right, it is in the correct specialties. Number 7, clear your PLAB in your internship year. And number 8, make sure you start revising and doing the work for your PLAB 2 in your internship year as well. Number 9, choose earlier on what you want to do, PLAB or USMLE, okay? Because both of them have associated with their own costs. You can sort of revise for both, but focus on something. And number 10 is make sure you have a good mentor, okay? If you have any questions, fire away, email them to me. I'm more than happy to answer them. Right, all medical students, this is what I want you to do. Play this video in your lecture theatre, share this with your friends, so they are much more aware of what's going on, so they don't just turn up on their final year date and decide they want to do PLAB or USMLE. So make sure you share this. I'm happy to, if I'm ever visiting outside the UK, to come and talk to you at your universities. If you want me to do that in person, do get in touch as well, and we'll see if we can organise something as well. All the best. Take care.